Hey friend, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here listening to another episode of the Pattern Design Circle podcast. Here we talk all about the ins and outs of designing knit and crochet patterns and running a business that makes it all possible. I'm Jessica, your host, knitting pattern designer, design mentor, and the friend in your ear. Can't wait to dive right in. The Pattern Design Circle podcast is sponsored by the Pattern Design Circle, a membership community for knit and crochet pattern designers that are feeling lost, lonely, or frustrated in their business. It connects you with a supportive community that's always eager to answer your questions and help you through the hard times. And there's loads of resources and activities specifically catered to business and designing. Sound like your jam? Check it out at snickerdoodleknits.com/design-circle. That's snickerdoodle, like the cookie, knits, knits.com/design-circle. All right, let's get into it. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of Pattern Design Circle podcast. As always, I'm delighted to be here chatting with you. This is our last marketing overview podcast episode where we're talking about a specific a platform where you can market your business. This week we are talking about YouTube. And now I know YouTube is a place that pattern designers often think about for hosting a podcast. But have you really thought about it as a marketing tool for your business? It absolutely can be. It can be a wonderful marketing platform. So what is the idea of using YouTube? YouTube is a platform that is all about video. So if you love creating video, it might be a really good fit for you. You can create and share long form and short form content on YouTube. What that means is that YouTube has adopted short form video content, like what a lot of social media platforms are using. That's like that really fast 30-second minute long video content that we see all the time in TikTok, on Instagram Reels. It's a thing because we love to scroll this day and age. We have short attention spans. So YouTube has adopted it in its platform. But YouTube really is primarily a long form content platform, meaning that typically when you go to YouTube, you expect to be watching something that's several minutes long, maybe even hour long. And of course, we've seen stuff that's like 24 hours long if you're looking for a like different soundtracks and things like that. So you have the option now to have both types of video content. One thing that I know I've seen several folks talk about when we're talking about YouTube specifically and short form versus long form content is that, yes, the short form content is addicting. It can build brand awareness and connection, but it typically isn't the strategy you want to use for selling through YouTube. Folks aren't used to, from a YouTube short is what they call, shorts are what they call the short form content. People aren't used to clicking for a product after watching a YouTube short. They're used to watching a YouTube short, scrolling on to the next YouTube short. So it's great for getting folks to know you and know what your brand is about. But for actually selling, you likely will also want to use long form content, or maybe you only want to use long form content. Like marketing in general, YouTube is for entertaining, educating, and inspiring people. It is another SEO platform like blogging and Pinterest, meaning that folks come onto the platform and search for something. So most of us have probably gone onto YouTube and searched how to, and maybe like SSK or something like that. Like we've searched for knitting tutorials on YouTube because it's a search platform, search engine. It connects your search query with solutions. And then as a marketer, that is how your content is found. You do also have subscribers, but your content can reach a whole lot more people than just your subscribers. So subscribers are not the most like the highest importance on YouTube. So let's talk about the different ideas for content you might share on YouTube. I've already mentioned technique tutorial videos. So you can teach a technique, you can share a tip. This is things like how to knit, how to purl, or things that maybe aren't specific like how to, but tips on working color work. So then you can share, like how to keep your floats from being so tight, how to get it to look pretty and even, or even tips on, all right, if you have your yarn this way, this is going to be the dominant color of your color work. If you have your color this way, this is going to be the dominant color. So these are all educational videos that provide value to your audience by sharing information. You can also have explaining, educating videos, which is the same purpose, it's educating. But this can be even broader, or not necessarily broader, but less specific, less actionable, maybe more broad information. I don't know exactly how to describe it, but what I'm thinking of is things like talking about how fabric drapes, how using a different kind of yarn, say using cashmere versus using merino versus using alpaca, how that affects the drape of your fabric. How to know what a sweater in cot linen is going to look at like versus a sweater in alpaca and cashmere. You can talk about just in general comparing characteristics of yarns without saying specifically talking about sweater, but maybe talking about staple length of the fibers and talking about the what is it called? The point system that's assigned so that you know how soft the micron count. Just if that's what your brand is about, you can share all sorts of information on yarns, on methodologies, on fabric types. So much information. You could talk about how to alter patterns, how to alter garments, how to really create a garment that fits. Any of the marketing content that you can use on a blog or on social media, you can absolutely use on YouTube as well. You can also use videos to inspire. You can inspire them with your story. You can talk about how you started designing. You can talk about how you started knitting. You can talk about random stories of you ran into this problem while knitting and this is how you solved it. You can tell stories of maybe somebody special, a friend or a family member or a child, asking for a certain project and how you made it come to life. Or anytime we incorporate stories, it connects us with the person who's sharing the story. Or as a marketer, it connects us with our audience. It helps people really get to know you and to feel like you get them, that you're another human just like them. And it's relatable. And so that builds the like, no trust factor. So you can inspire them with your story. You can inspire them with your patterns. I share on my YouTube channel. Now my YouTube channel, I've never really created a YouTube strategy. I use YouTube as my place to host videos that I'm creating anyway. So it started as a place to host my tutorial videos that I was creating for my patterns. And then I used it to share Instagram lives replays. So like for my email list, if they weren't on Instagram, they could go to YouTube to watch the video. And then now I post my podcast videos. I post the video part to YouTube. The one thing that I have created specifically for YouTube is my design overview videos, which talk about, I have one for each of my patterns, and it just talks about what the design is, what inspired the design, what I love about it, what they probably want to know about the pattern, what kind of yarns it can use, sizing, what kind of instructions there are, what kind of techniques it use, things like that. So I'll say that to say you can inspire them with your patterns by just showing your designs and talking about it, and that can inspire them to want to make it. You can inspire them with things that you love. Maybe it's knitting tools, maybe it's yarns, maybe it's, showing designs from other designers that you love. You can inspire them with styling options, how to actually wear a crescent shawl, how to actually wear a prop sweater, different outfit options, and how to tie things so that it actually stays, things like that. And then, of course, you can link to your patterns in the description. You can even link to it as a, I forget the name of it now, but it's like the little pop-up link that comes up in the right-hand corner of a YouTube video, where it just pops up with a link and they can click it to go directly to that item. Another category of video you can create is entertainment. So you can entertain with bloopers from, maybe it's problems that you had while you were knitting something and you had to rub back. Maybe it was your cat playing with your yarn. Maybe it was when your kid picked up your knitting and it all fell off the needles, and then you had to figure out where you were in the lace panel. It could be bloopers from other videos that you create. You can share funny stories, interactions with kids, with pets, with spouses, with friends, yarn shops, anything. Really relatable moments that only fiber artists are going to get. Like it really just shows that you get them, you're living a similar life to them, even if it's not exactly the same. But it just builds that emotional connection again. And of course, you can repurpose content. So you can, this is utilizing multiple marketing strategies. You can post or share a YouTube video that you've posted, share it with your email list. You can say, hey, I was really inspired to create this. 3 reasons you might be interested are XYZ, or these are 3 things that I include. Watch the video to get all the information, and then you link to the video so that they watch your YouTube video. Or you can take your YouTube video and you can split it up into 5 different reels that you can post on Instagram, or clips that you can post on TikTok. You can, if you're posting YouTube shorts, you can use the same videos for YouTube, for Instagram Reels, and for TikTok, etc. Then the last podcast episode was about Pinterest. You can absolutely put pins on Pinterest that lead to your YouTube video. So you can say, you won't believe what happened to my yarn, put that on a pin, lead it to your YouTube video. That's something funny that happened with your cat and the yarn, or whatever it is. So then you're leading people from Pinterest to your YouTube video. So really understand what the purpose of your YouTube channel is, like all marketing strategies. Know what your audience is really looking for, know what your brand specializes in. I've given lots of different ideas of things you could create, but it needs to relate to your brand. How does this relate to what you're selling? How does it relate to you? How does it relate to your ideal customer? And then last but not least, you can use your blog, your YouTube video for your blog. So you might just provide a little bit of information and paste the YouTube video in your blog. You might take the transcript from your YouTube video and put that on your blog. You might just take the highlight points from your YouTube video and write a blog post based on the same outline. So lots of different ways you can repurpose content no matter what platform you are on. But again, remember, don't overwhelm yourself by thinking you need to be in all the places. Don't think, like, oh, these all can relate. I can see how I can repurpose my content. I need to be in all of the places. And then you don't really focus on what's actually working on each of those places. You're just so busy creating content for all of those places. And then you're not growing as quickly as you might like or as quickly as you could. So as with everything, remember your goals and remember your brand, your business, what you're actually trying to market. Now, why might you want to use YouTube? I already hinted at the fact that it's a search engine. And so you can reach people who are warm leads actually looking for your content. For example, how to work SSK. Somebody is probably searching that because they're in the middle of a pattern and want to figure it out. Whereas if you post that on Instagram, it's less likely that somebody's currently working on that kind of technique. It might still be helpful. They're like, oh, that's really informative. But you're not directly solving a problem that they have right now. And then you can really build a faithful audience base on YouTube. As you create videos that are really solving their problems, really connecting with them, really building that like, no trust factor, folks will come back again and again and again and again for your videos. Folks will recommend your videos. When folks watch several of your videos, YouTube will continue to recommend your videos to them, whether they're subscribed to you or not. And because YouTube is showing your content to warm leads, these are people that are looking for your content, and you now get to introduce yourself, get to nurture them with additional content on your YouTube channel. And if they subscribe or if they continue to see your videos, just continues to build that relationship, and continue to share with it, like Instagram or YouTube just continues to share with the people that love you. So Instagram, why do I keep saying Instagram? YouTube content can also last forever. Like, how many videos have we seen that have been up for years and years and people just keep sharing it because they love it? So, okay, let's talk about how to actually use YouTube. What does the tech look like? First of all, you're going to record the video. Then or if you're interested in editing it, you will edit the video. I used to use Adobe, not Premiere. Well, I used Premiere for a little bit, but then I used the other version, Adobe's cheaper version, that has less features in it. Now I use iMovie because I now have a Mac. Then you upload the video to YouTube. You don't edit the video in terms of volume, in terms of cutting things out, in terms of adding additional frames or pages or text or anything like that. You can't do any of that kind of editing on YouTube. What you can edit on YouTube is the end screen. You can have things pop up so that it said, like, so folks can subscribe to your channel. So it recommends other videos that you have. So it recommends a playlist that you have. So maybe it is a a technique tutorial. Your video is a technique tutorial. You can then tell it to recommend your playlist that is all knitting technique tutorials, so that then they can click through that if they'll be more interested that way. And then once you add it to YouTube, you also add the thumbnail. It will recommend 3 different just screenshots that it's taken out of your video, or you can create a very specific thumbnail for video, so that you want the thumbnail to catch folks' attention so that they actually click to watch the video. And then you add a title, you add a description. You can have links inside of your description, which is very handy. But honestly, how many of us click to the description on a regular basis? Don't depend on that. It's helpful for folks who maybe they see something in your video and they're like, oh yes, I want to buy that. They really, really, really want to buy that. And so then they click the link. But don't expect everybody to be clicking your description and reading it. You can add tags to your video. So that is how you add additional keywords. So let's say that some folks, like if there's 2 different ways to spell something or different wordings that people might use, you can use the tags to cover those other possibilities that aren't, without having to use them in your title. Your title space is limited. You also want it to make sense. So then you use the tags as additional keywords that YouTube will connect your content with, so that you can find the people who are looking for the content you are creating. Let's see, tags, and then like I mentioned, you can add the end screen. And so once you've done all of that, you've edited all of the information, you can choose to publish it now. You can choose to publish it future. And if you have content that is something you don't want to be public, you have it for a membership or one-on-one coaching or things like that, a class, you can have it as unlisted so that anybody who has a link can view it, or you can have it limited to only specific people that you give access to. You can also, let's see, the other thing that YouTube does is that they scan your video just for copyright and things like that. So it can take a little bit of time for folks to actually see your content. And they have, the other thing I wanted to mention is that they do have free music available that you can use to add to your video, but you have to download that and add it to your video before you upload your video to YouTube. So YouTube, you don't edit your video on, but they do have free music that isn't copyrighted, that you're not going to get in copyright issues with. You're not going to be breaking laws by using it, that you can add to your YouTube video to add that special touch of just having music with it. Now, a couple of tools that you may want to use: YouTube SEO research. There is a platform called TubeBuddy, TubeBuddy. I personally have not used it, but My mentor recommends it all of the time, so I feel confident recommending it. So that is a platform specifically for looking up, understanding, using keyword research, SEO, search engine optimization on YouTube. The other tool that I recommend paying attention to is YouTube Analytics. You can pay attention to how long people are actually watching your content, at what point they tend to drift away. That tells you what folks are actually interested in, what they're getting bored with. It tells you how many people are actually clicking to watch the video. So that gives you information on whether your title and your thumbnail are interesting enough. And then it compares it to your other videos. So it gives you an idea of what's performing better than others, which is really helpful in testing things and knowing how to improve. So that is an overview of YouTube marketing. I hope it gives you an idea of how you might use it for your own business. I hope that this whole series in general has helped you to see that there are options for marketing outside of social media that are powerful, that are helpful, that require less time than social media does. So this was the what, why, and how of YouTube. Very quick overview. If you're looking for additional information, go ahead and shoot me a message at Pattern Design Circle, or feel free to join Pattern Design Circle. We dive into all sorts of different things, and I'm always happy to help answer your questions and dive deeper into your business there. The one other note that I see I have on my list that I did not mention was that when we were talking about the different kinds of content you can share, a knitting podcast, in what we call knitting podcasts, can absolutely cover any and all of those kinds of content. It can entertain, it can educate, and it can inspire, depending on the podcast format that you want to create. I'm not saying that everybody needs to have a knitting podcast. It's for a certain kind of audience, and knowing your audience you want to serve will help you decide if you want to do that. Also knowing your personality and whether that's the kind of content you like to create will help you make that decision. But YouTube's a wonderful, powerful marketing tool that's not going anywhere anytime soon. And so maybe it's just something to put in your back pocket, or something that has been on the back burner that you want to bring forward. However this episode served you, I hope that it really was helpful. Let me know, and I'll chat with you soon. I'm going to be doing the next podcast episode, a recap of I guess a recap's the best explanation. The marketing strategies that you want to use no matter what platform you're on. So we spent all this time talking about different platforms. Let's talk about what's the same no matter what platform you're on. Tune in for the next episode. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss it. All right, I'll see you on the next one. Wow, thanks so much for listening to this episode. If you found it valuable, please share the podcast with a designer friend. And if you have a minute, leave a review. It's so helpful for me and means the world to me. Chat soon.